Interrelated. So, my first question is to Sheila ji. Um, do you think people in India are eating well and they are eating the right kind of food, considering that children do get attracted to food that looks good, that necessarily might not be healthy or good to eat?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Charmi. Um, I think we have gone away from eating our traditional Indian foods, and although at sometimes it's not such a bad thing, but it's not always good either, because our food habits have changed so much, and we have started to copy the Western countries so much. We're eating much more ultra processed foods. We're eating less natural foods, and all of these changes are causing a lot of health problems. So we are not really eating right. We are not eating healthy. We are not eating on time, and we're not choosing the right foods. And as you rightly said, a lot of youngsters are getting attracted towards unhealthy, highly processed foods, which are which have more of non-nutrients than nutrients as ingredients. So yes, we have moved away from eating healthy traditional foods to a very modern, ultra-processed kind of unhealthy eating.
Talking about the right kind of food, Abhishek, you own a homegrown brand that does seasonal, that concentrates on seasonal produce. Tell us a bit about how seasonal food is important to the climate and culture of our country.
Hi. What lies at the center of Earth Story Farms is primarily two things. One is seasonality, and one is the other is indigenous. What is traditional and indigenous to the country. Uh, Seasonality is all about climate. What are the conditions that helps grow a certain kind of food or vegetables at that point of time, and that leads to the consumption. What has happened with commercialization and economies of scale and green revolution as such is that we've gone beyond seasonality, and now you would see that the colors of the bazaars or the markets don't change based on the seasons that we do. So that used to be one of my favorite pastimes as a child, to go to the market and see various colors of vegetables. Right now, you can see everything at every month of the season. So seasonality actually determines from seasonality what comes is what is the right kind of food to consume at that point of time. So there are certain kinds of vegetables and foods that are to be consumed during the summers. There are certain kinds of foods that are going to be consumed during winters that are going to give you warmth in the body. I'll give you an example from our own perspective, from Earth Stories perspective. We do two types of jaggery. One is a date jaggery that's based out of date trees, and one is the palm jaggery that's based out of palm trees. So date jaggery is a winter jaggery. So this sap from the date trees that's collected in winter and that's converted into a jaggery. It is supposed to actually give your body warmth. Contradictorily, palm jaggery is a summer jaggery that we collect the sap in the summers, and that gives your body actually cools down your body. The palm or the tal mishri that we used to consume traditionally as a sweetener, that used to bring down the temperature of the body and cool the body, or act as a natural coolant. So that is what seasonality does to you.
Yuvraj Saab, you are a fitness enthusiast, and earlier we had people going to the akharas. Now people are going to the gym. I don't know whether to say it's unfortunate or it's a trend that has picked up. Gyms popularize the use of supplements, protein shakes. Do you recommend them, being a fitness enthusiast? And if not, then how does one incorporate what we eat in our daily life to remaining fit and going to the gym?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So I'll just start off by saying that instead of the 3 hours of screen time, we can dedicate 1 hour to fitness. That would be fantastic. To answer your question directly in regards to the gym and the akhada, I think we must have a mentality where we take best of both the worlds. If you have a akhada close to you, you must go. If you have a gym close to you, you must go. There's no reason not to go to the gym. It's only going to benefit you. What's important is how you train, and above all, what is your purpose to train? An individual like myself, because I'm in the fitness industry, I probably would go more than what the average individual would. But if someone, I'm presuming most of us in this audience, except for me, is from the medical background. Now, training clients, I've seen two fields where it's very, very difficult for them to find time to even enter a gym. And that is one, the police force, and the second is the medical field. Both are COVID warriors. And I absolutely understand that given your hectic time schedule. She's qualified too.
Sheila ji, he said he's recommending supplements, and you being a dietitian, what is your take on that?
As a dietitian, I would always say food first.
fall for that gimmick. You see, turmeric latte is nothing but haldi doodh. And there are so many things like that. Like they are using names like pancakes for dosas. So this thing needs to be busted. It all belongs to us.
Yeah, but it's also an inclination on our part to be leaning more towards
Yeah, you know,
what
aping the
what gets
West. Yeah.
promoted from the West.
Yeah.
But once we start realizing that the gems that we have here, the indigenous indigenous produce, whether it be millets or the
Yeah.
indigenous rice varieties, the vegetables, the diversity and the produce that we have here, if we had a little more faith on it, rather than leaning blindly towards the West, it would not be so easy to sell it to us. While they sold it to us, we also bought it.
Javed, I want to know your
I think over the course of post-COVID, you see a lot of brands, other brands coming up. I think somewhere if these influencers were millions following reach a lot of people and people practice what they teach. I think getting these people onto such brands is the best way, the shortest way to get these products, additional products to the masses. That is something which we try with the Bharat culture as well, by promoting and manufacturing those tools. So I think the point that you said about social media is very true. And I'm also highlighting that people who are not qualified. But while that is true, I think the best way to tap in is through that itself, to make these people the brand ambassadors of these traditional brands, get them on board. At the end of the day, they will feel a sense of pride if you're bringing them. I think number one is people across different social classes need to communicate and have that ability that we want businesses and that we to flourish.
Srinaji, there's so many misconceptions regarding superfoods, good foods, dieting, fasting, intermittent fasting. Please try and fast at least.
Well, if I had the whole evening to look for this, I could probably use a couple of hours on nutrition. But can I just ask the audience with your permission?
I think that
Yeah, so can one of you name one or two myths related to nutrition that you might have heard or you might believe in? Anybody? Any nutritional myths? No? Wow.
शीला जी पूछना चाह रही है कि आप में से कोई ऐसी चीजों के बारे में जिसको हम मिथ मानते थे लेकिन वो फैक्ट में कुछ और है मतलब मिथ वैसे तो मिथ का मतलब ये होता है कि जो हम जो सच है लेकिन हम उसको मानते नहीं लेकिन यहाँ पे है कि जैसे अभी घी के बारे में बात हो रही थी कि घी हमारे लिए हेल्दी है और वो कौन सा खाया कि वो कैसे अनहेल्दी है और आपने उसको मान लिया कि अनहेल्दी है तो आप में से किसी ने ऐसा कुछ एक्सपीरियंस किया है क्या?
जैसे आप लोगों ने सुना होगा कि सब वीगन डाइट्स कर रहे हैं तो आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं शीला जी से कि क्या वीगन डाइट्स असल में काम करते हैं या केटो डाइट्स do they actually work?
That actually, let's start with that question. It has a few yeah. So yes, I'll answer this in two parts. One is keto and one is vegan. Let me begin with keto diets. Keto diets, ketogenic diets, and that's the full form, are actually prescribed for people who have epilepsy. In children especially who have epilepsy, ketogenic diets are given to them because they're able to arrest or to some extent, it's not a cure for epilepsy, but it definitely helps in control. But it became so popular for some reason that everybody who wanted to lose weight started to go on a ketogenic diet, which is a lot of protein, immense amount of protein, immense amount of fat, and very, very low in carbohydrates. So the change in the food intake pattern itself started to help the people to lose weight to some extent. So I'm not saying it didn't work. It did work in some people. So they were on a very high fat, high meat kind of a diet plan with very low amount of rice and wheat and millets and things like that. So we started to work initially, but then a lot of people started to also experience other health problems. Because as a lot of you might know already that meats, especially the red meats, are very high in saturated fat and cholesterol and things like that. So that started to actually affect a lot of people's health, and they fell off the keto diet, went back to normal eating, and then they started to gain weight all over again. So none of these fancy diets or fat diets work in the long run. They just remain temporary benefit, they give a temporary benefit, but in the long run, they're not sustainable. They do not provide all the nutrients that are necessary for the body to function normally, and they can actually promote health problems in on a long-term basis. Coming to vegan diet,
Yes, program.
I think when you compare keto and vegan, I would definitely say vegan is a much better choice. But although it is not a it's not
WhatsApp call
mandatory
करो,
for
WhatsApp
everybody
call,
to be
clear है
vegan.
WhatsApp call.
Veganism basically is a choice. Veganism did not exist, as far as my knowledge goes. Veganism did not exist in India because although a lot of us might be vegetarians in India, we still take dairy foods. So when I say vegan food, vegan diet, vegan food is nothing but avoiding all animal products. So that's meat, egg, fish, chicken, dairy, milk, curd, everything. And that just
क्या हो गया?
that is not a
उनको
part
क्या
of
हो
our
गया था?
culture.
आंटी
We
सर को क्या हो
always
गया?
had milk or curd or buttermilk or ghee or butter in some form, paneer, all of these
अकेला
foods,
था?
in some
बाकी
form
सब
or
लोग
the
कहाँ
other,
गया
really
था
have
उसका?
always been a part of our meals, a wholesome meal. And even when we do puja,
सुसाइड किया कि ऑटोमेटिक एक्सपायर हो गया?
dahi or ghee or something like that in the puja performance, right? So we always
अब
use
अपना
this.
पैसा देना
So
बाकी था हमको.
veganism is a very, I would say, Western culture which came into existence maybe a few decades ago, and which we have started to use. Although by and large, if it is again, if the foods are chosen carefully and eaten planned in the meal plan,
तो भी माना नहीं है.
balanced well, it can be very healthy. Although there is always a deficiency in
तो
vitamin
ये
B12
कन्हैया क्या कर रहा है अभी?
in
कन्हैया
a
टावर
vegan diet because vitamin B12 is obtained only through animal origin foods, right? So we normally say that if you are on a vegan diet,
ये क्यों
you
सुबह से
have to take
चिराग
a
को बुलाता है
supplement
और
or
वो भी टावर में है, तो कर क्या रहा है? क्या कर रहा है?
especially for vitamin D and vitamin B12.
तो ये कांति प्रजापति के घर वाले इसके पे केस वेस नहीं करेंगे कि ऑफिस ने ये कोई बंदा है जो इसे पेमेंट अटका के रखा है और वो एक्सपायर भी हो गया उसके टेंशन ऐसा कुछ केस नहीं हो सकता इसके ऊपर?
Absolutely essential to be a vegan. So please don't blindly follow any kind of diets just on social media.
So then let's think about intermittent fasting, which has been
हाँ.
our ancestors used to do it, but suddenly since it's a fad, it's a trend, and the West is
उसको
doing it,
उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ा है?
Yes.
think about it.
कितना मतलब खराब है सोचा?
Traditionally, India has always believed in fasting. We have our Ekadasi and which we follow.
वो 5 जब देना था सब्जेक्ट
We
में
have
था
also
तो कैसा नाटक
festival
कर रहा
related fasting.
किसको देना है नाम बताता हूँ फिर आपको सुनाई दिया ना ऐसे ही उसने बोला कि ऑन रोल नहीं होना चाहिए ये मतलब जानबूझ के लोगों का करता है.
Followed in India and it has worked very well. So as long as we're doing it the proper way, it does
पर ये
help because
खाली खाली नाटक.
I think the autophagy, even the discovery or the discovery, I should say, the explanation of autophagy autophagy even got a Nobel Prize for person
Director why? Director why beta?
who researched on autophagy, right? So yes, it does help to
Bharat
a
aur
great
dono.
extent. And coming to intermittent fasting, there are again 2-3 different types of intermittent fasting. How do I put it? It's yes, it might be beneficial.
हमको भी यहाँ बैठा के रखा है कि लो लाइव करते
There
रहो,
are
पर
a
क्यों
lot
करते
of
रहे आप?
studies being done on intermittent fasting and not just weight management but also and heart disease and when done over a long period of time. So that is why our ancestors always did fasting only for a short period of time. I mean, it was not for a long period of time, right? So I think as long as we follow that, even if it is intermittent fasting in a short period of time, it will help. But please do that under the supervision of a qualified healthcare professional, not on your own, because even in that window of 12 hours or 10 hours or 8 hours that you're eating, the foods have to be well balanced and nutritious. So if you say you're doing intermittent fasting and take all kinds of highly processed and junk foods in that 8-hour window, it's not going to help at all. So it has to be done methodically and in a proper manner.
Abhishek, you are
हर रीजन का अपना एक फूड कल्चर है, साथ ही हर फूड का एक सीजन, राइट? अगर हम बात करें कि ककबर की बात करें किया जिसको
अभी नट्टू का है वहीं पे?
एक सीजन में होता है particular। लेकिन अब हम लोग देखते हैं कि वो आपको ऑल वेदर वेजिटेबल में हो गया है, जिससे हम पाते हैं कि जो ओरिजिनल टेस्ट है दैट इज मिसिंग आउट।
कोई नहीं होने दो।
जो होती है उसमें कमी होती है, अगर टेस्ट की बात
कुछ ना
कोई
कोई का कोई
टेस्ट
प्रॉब्लम
नहीं
चलता
कर
रहता है,
रहा है
हेल्थ
उस
के ऊपर नहीं।
पर्टिकुलर सीजन का टेस्ट है।
आने
तो
से
ये
सीजन
जो
को
एक
खाना
कल्चर
जो
अभी
हम
हमने
लोग
टॉक किया गया जो ओवर द इयर्स ग्रो होता है, लेकिन कोई भी चीज बारहों मास हम लोग कहते हैं कि सभी
हाँ वो क्या करते हैं, आने
किसी
से
भी
वाले
चीज
को
ले लीजिए आप, ऑरेंज ले लीजिए,
आप मेरी बात
प्रोडक्ट है वो बाहर तो ये तो
ऐसा है।
हम अपनी चीज खो रहे हैं। कोई भी चीज है जो एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम में ही हो रही है उसको हम
चल रहा है अभी।
सभी
तो वो 3 दिन का प्रोग्राम था, वो
लेकिन
वाला
उसमें कितना बड़ा नुकसान हो रहा है इस पे आप
नुकसान तो लॉन्ग टर्म ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं
चलो कोई नहीं, है ना, मिलता हूँ अभी खत्म होता है तो
सीड जो यूज किया जा रहा है सीड से
कुछ पता नहीं।
राइट नाउ अभी जो सीड यूज हो रहा है वो भी एक हाइब्रिड सीड है, इसी वजह से वो थ्रू आउट द ईयर ग्रो कर पाता है। The second reason why we are particular piece of tree. So
Egypt का 20-25 जगह में वो लाइट है और खाली है।
now there are one seed stage
I'm lock कर रहे हैं
इसमें growing cycle से तो कभी भी grow कर
ये दूसरा नहीं यहाँ पर
storage वाला storage so what we are taking now in summer was actually grown in the river for it to the storage. ये आपके again comes down to the consumer. The most key question which किया था वो seasonality. तो seasonality and ecology का जो concept है जो आपने जो बताया है, the country is diverse. हर एक जगह का अलग है, अलग property है। तो उसके हिसाब से तो food है, that is the only that perfect problem. And कोई एक aspect नहीं है we can actually
इसके बाद में सेशन
seasonal food इसलिए है because it comes along with the season, it comes along with the temperature will be very different. और इसी food के कुछ advantages that when you consume cauliflower and drink,
इसके बाद लास्ट
and when you consuming vegetables that will
उसके बाद कुछ हमारे घंटे एक और है।
advantages. So once you break that cycle, then you are in a long-term problematic space. And unless you come back to the concept of seasonality, you are not able, will not be able to break that cycle. So हमारा कुछ वही है कि we explain seasonality to the customer. हमें भी आता है कि ये आपके पास कितनी availability ये वाला उसका कितना season है जब ये बनता है. So उसके वो season के बाहर अगर हम बनाएंगे then we are not true to the product. So product जो अच्छे से बनेगा will not get authentic taste of it. So we also have a responsibility to explain to the consumer the concept of season, seasonality, what's available when, what is actually good. Because we have become so urban and we have become so supermarket, we have lost the concept of it is available. So हमें अभी नहीं पता कि season में good क्या है. So it is our responsibility to make the consumer and also for the consumers to make a few choices.
Akshay, this, like, since we talk about how conscious choices are important in terms of the so, what are the ways you think the government can work with small entrepreneurs to popularize their food products that use fresh, sweet, seasonal produce? What policies do you think will be effective so that more farmers and entrepreneurs are encouraged to set up small ventures specialized in seasonal produce? A lot of seasonal and small and packaging SRI, they are expensive. If the government comes in to the picture, do you think the cost factors will balance?
In the silo, I don't think so. But as a value chain, there will be multiple factors that will contribute to the funding cost of the product. I do work with the government a lot in terms of rural economies, rural institutions, at the national level. So I do work a lot with state rural livelihood divisions and such. So they are doing a good work. What government can do is help us liaise and connect with the farmer producer companies, farmer producer organizations, self-help groups, with clusters. The cluster-based programs are being popularized with the government right now. That's a great approach. If that is being done, there's a certain economy of scale that the farmers can achieve, and also we as entrepreneurs can achieve. And we can do a lot if government plays that reasoning role between the farmer and the entrepreneur. So that's a certain role that can be played. In terms of cost being reduced, I think it's something that will happen in the longer run as the value chain is optimized further, and once these crops, these newer the producers that they are actually farming. Once they attain a certain volume and we see a certain steady demand in the market, once that's stabilized and balanced, and we are able to optimize the entire value chain in terms of the produce to the final product to the last mile delivery to the consumer. Once that is done, I think prices are going to come down in the longer run. I wouldn't get into the space of being expensive or cheap because that's a relative concept. What we at Earth Story Farms has always focus is one is fair trade.